shout out to our guy Brian Baldinger, who's joining us, presented by Verizon with our Insider Access segment. New customers can get up to $800 in a prepaid MasterCard to pay off your current smartphone loan when you switch to Verizon. Let's bring him in now. Our guy Brian Baldinger. Baldy, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm good. Can you see? Okay, here we go. I'm good, guys. Happy New Year to everybody.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you as well, Baldy. And we're starting the new year by looking at a Broncos game that's pretty much a win and end game for the Broncos, and also looking at some Pro Bowler news that just came down the wire. Broncos have 3 Pro Bowlers. They're all starters. Marvin Mims as returner, Pat Surtain at corner, and Nik Bonitto at outside linebacker. Do you think that 3 was right for the Broncos? Because Broncos country, including us, all thinks that Zach Allen definitely deserved to be in as well.
Yeah, he did. I mean, it's not even close. His, you look at any number, any measurable against Cam Hayward or Stone Cold Jones or Matabike, it's not even close. He's better than all of them, and he's had a better season. He's got 39 quarterback hits. I can't find anybody that has more. Maybe there are. I haven't seen it. But, yeah, I mean, between quarterback hits to sacks, his dominance against Cincinnati on national TV last weekend, he got snubbed. I thought Quinn Meinerz got snubbed. I mean, the Broncos protect their quarterback as good as anybody in this business. He's a big part of it. I think both those guys got snubbed, honestly. I thought Quinn should have been over Quentin Nelson, and I'm the biggest Quentin Nelson fan there is. But I thought he was a better player this year than Big Q.
Yeah. No, it's kind of surprising that those guys got left out. The even crazier part to me is that not only did Zach Allen not get in, he's the 4th alternate. Like he finished 7th among all the defensive tackles in the AFC. I'm curious what you think about Nik Bonitto getting in, because obviously a great year, obviously deserved, but just what have you seen from him over the course of this year?
Well, I mean, you see the touchdowns, you see the splash plays.
Yeah.
The numbers. I think he had a sack, at least a half a sack, in 7, 8 straight games. He's been a pretty consistent player, but I thought he stepped up. He became a full every down player this season, and I think he made the best of it. So I mean, you can put him out there. There's Trey Hendrickson and there's Miles, and look, there's Nick. I mean, I didn't think Max Crosby was worthy of it with his injury this year. He didn't play well, and I'm friends with Max, but I didn't see a forced fumble from him. I saw a lot more splash plays from Nick this year.
Baldy, we were talking about it. No running back, no tight end, no wide receiver was earned a Pro Bowl spot or was an alternate. Are there any snubs in there, or is that just where the Broncos are at right now?
I mean, you could make a case for Courtney for sure, Todd. I mean, he's played big. I mean, you're playing with a rookie quarterback. I mean, we've been doing this thing every week since the start of the season. Bo Nix couldn't complete a pass to a wide receiver to start the season. That's not Courtney's fault, but I mean, I thought he really came on. I think he's worthy of it. But there's, if you look around the league, I mean, some of these, the numbers are crazy what these receivers are coming down with right now. So I don't look. It's just where the offense is right now. There's some star power that's lacking, but that's okay. They play well as a group.
So, Baldy, going off of that, because you mentioned the star power lacking in the skill position players surrounding Bo, do you think that's going to be the Broncos' top priority this offseason, is whether it's running back, tight end, wide receiver? Or do you think that Sean thinks, hey, I can get those guys, I just really need to focus the money and tension to the inside, whether it's the offense or the defense like he has with offensive line? Or do you think we will see Sean go after some star-studded names at the outside?
Have you been watching this tight end from Penn State?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
He looks like Gronk out there, man. Like, you give him Ty Warren and let him go to work. I mean, red zone efficiency. I mean, that guy looks like a beast to me. I mean, he's 265 pounds. He runs in the 4.6s. I mean, that guy looks like he's got star power written all over him. I'd love to see him, especially after you see what Brock Bowers did, with the Raiders this year. I mean, he's bigger, stronger, faster than Brock Bowers. I mean, he looks like a difference maker to me. Yeah, I think that will be their target, a big part of what they decide to do this year.
Since we're talking about it, I'm curious what you think of Cam Skattebo as an NFL prospect.
I mean, he certainly had a great day. I haven't studied him a lot, but in a big moment, it's hard not to love him up at this point and see what happens next. But I haven't I'm getting ready for the Hula Bowl. He's not playing in anything like that. I'll be at the Senior Bowl. So it's draft season is around the corner. So I don't want to speak out of turn after just one game that I spent.
Baldy, I got to talk to you about this Broncos season and how it's kind of tailed off towards the end. The Broncos put themselves in good position to win one of their last 3 games to make the playoffs. They've lost the last 2 weeks, and I know they're going to be playing a few backup starters for the Chiefs. But is it time to panic? Should we be nervous? I know they're no walk in the park, but how should we feel right now as a fan base?
It's time. I'm telling people, I know Patrick Mahomes is going to have a baseball hat on and Travis Kelce. I would not underestimate Carson Wentz in this game at all. You watched him in the last game last year when he was with the Rams against the 40. He went up to San Francisco. He ran it 16 times. The guy, when he was in Philadelphia, I'm here in Philly, they were 36 for 38 doing quarterback sneaks way before the tush push. If there's a yard to go, he's getting. He's a cyborg. If he's throwing to Juju Smith-Schuster or Hollywood Brown or Justin Watson, I wouldn't take this for granted. But to your point, look, they're still scoring points. They're still putting points up. They ran into a hot quarterback last week. I think Riley Moss, needed to get a game under his belt before he saw Joe Burrow. So I wouldn't panic, but I wouldn't take this game lightly at all. I know how the first game finished with the field goal block and all that. I wouldn't even pay attention to that. I just would finish the deal. Finish the deal. I'm going to be in New York this week doing the Jets in Miami, and Miami is going to be scoreboard watching with you guys in Kansas City. It's going off at the same time, 4:25. Finish the deal and get in the playoffs, and then let's talk about how they finish.
Baldy, to me, and I know this isn't how the Broncos are approaching it, but I certainly am kind of taking this one for granted because it is playing against some Chiefs backups. But if the Chiefs are going to pull up the upset, what's the key for them and the key for the Broncos to stop that upset, especially with key backups playing?
Well, I know Carson Wentz good. He's watching Jared Goff take off. They came in the same draft. He's watching Sam Darnold have a revitalization. He's watching Baker, and he's saying to himself, "Why not me?" And if you give a quarterback a year with out there in Los Angeles with Sean McVay, and now you give him a year with Andy Reid, the guy is going to be rebuilt. He's going to learn what it means to play quarterback, prepare, concentration on fundamentals. They got to control Carson Wentz, and he's not easy to do it. That guy is 240 pounds. He's 6'5". He's healthy. To me, they're going to have to play a great game defensively against him.
What do you do offensively? Because we don't know exactly who's going to be out. You'd imagine Chris Jones won't play. Trent McDuffie maybe sits out. Do you look at this as a game where you obviously can't make mistakes? Because when you're a 10-point favorite, interceptions, penalties, those are sorts of things that kind of flip those odds. You don't want to go into the game conservative, but at the same time, you can't be just giving the ball back to an off. You know where I'm going?
Yeah. Look, Kansas City just won a big game without Chris Jones. Mike Dana stepped up and got 2 sacks. Charles Omena, who's back in the lineup. Karlaftis probably doesn't need to play, but they've been drafting these defensive players that are all playing for them over the last 3 drafts. So Joshua Williams, pick a guy at a position. They're drafting these guys, and they know how to coach them up. Spags will have these guys ready to play. There's still nobody better in this business. Maybe Brian Flores. There's still nobody better in this business to go hit a quarterback with a free hitter than Steve Spagnuolo. So, while a lot of these guys will certainly take the week off, I don't think they're going to take a lot of guys off because, they got the bye next week as it is. So you don't want to go 3 weeks without playing your top flight guys. Maybe Trent McDuffie sits down, fine. But, I think Leo Chenal's going to play. The guy's 255 pounds. He just stuffs running backs in his business. I think they're going to have enough good players to play in this game that you better account for.
For the Broncos to win this game, I think it's very important for them to be able to run the football. I think Jalil kind of found his footing last week, averaging almost 7 yards a carry. First, what did you think of his performance last week, and what do you think he needs to do this week to help his team to win?
Well, he certainly looked fresher last week after missing, a little bit. So his legs were underneath him. But, that guy is smoked through a keyhole. He's good. He's a good, quick back. He sees the holes quickly, and he takes advantage of it. So, I mean, I think, we have seen every one of these backs start, whether it's Austin or Semic or, Javante, whatever. I mean, he's just looking for a guy right now that can hit a hole the way you got to hit him in the postseason, when the defenses are just a whole lot better and more balanced. So I think it's important, to establish that this week against Kansas City, because you're going to need it in the postseason if you get there.
Yeah, and Baldy, speaking of if they make it into the postseason, Broncos fans hope that that's when they make it into the postseason. They know that they are going to be going into Buffalo to take on the Bills. Is this the worst case scenario for the Broncos, or do you think it would have been worse for the Broncos to have to go into Baltimore to play the Ravens, or even if the Bills were somehow able to jump the Chiefs a couple of weeks ago, that play the Chiefs?
Well, I mean, you're going to go up against one of the two MVPs, whether it's Lamar or Josh. You're going to see one of those guys, no matter where you go. And so that's the first challenge, is how to contain those two players, because Lamar's playing the best he's ever played, and Josh is playing the best he's ever played. So then you go, okay, defensively, what are you going up against? They're completely different teams. Buffalo is largely a zone team. They got a bunch of Pro Bowl players on it. Some people know their names, some people don't. But, Von Miller's been a Super Bowl MVP on a couple of occasions, and rightfully so. And he's playing great right now. And so he's trying to get ready for the postseason. Baltimore's defense has been fixed. But you guys, I would imagine that whoever they play at running back, if he's out there, it's going to be a challenge. Because obviously Derrick Henry's been a beast all year. And if he gets enough carries, he's going to break long runs in the fourth quarter on you. So you got to do your best to contain him. But either way, Buffalo's offensive line is as good as anybody's in this whole postseason. They don't have a weakness up front. They got 5 starters that started every game this year. They got Deion Dawkins in a Pro Bowl for the 4th year in a row. They're really well coached and they're really good up front.
Baldy, final one for you. In 1 week from now, will we be talking to you about an epic Broncos collapse to the season, or will we be prepping for the Buffalo Bills playoff game with the Broncos?
I know I was throwing caution out there with Carson and the backup to Kansas City. I think we're preparing for a big playoff game on the road here for the Denver Broncos.
Let's go. We love to hear it, Baldy. We love catching up with you, and we'll love catching up with you next week to talk about that playoff game. Thank you so much, and Happy New Year, Baldy.
Yep. Happy New Year. Yep. Talk to you next week.